So e-biking, it can take us to some amazing places, epic trails in the middle of nowhere. But sometimes that ride can take a curveball. Mother Nature can throw us some pretty nasty conditions, or you get a mechanical. How are you going to get back to the car? Today's video, we're going to show you some trailside hacks and bodges to get you either back to your car or make that ride more comfortable in the first place. Let's get into it. Damn, I'm in the middle of nowhere. I've just come up this big climb. I've changed up into turbo mode and I've heard a hell of a bang and a crack coming from the back end of the bike. Look down, I've got no drive whatsoever. My FREEHUB body is completely gone. I've got no drive to that back wheel. Basically the FREEHUB's spinning round, but not turned into cassette. How the hell do I get out of this one? Let's take a look. So the way we're gonna get out of this one is with these babies here, zip ties. I've got a few of them in my riding pack. What I'm gonna do, just thread these through the little bits on my cassette, wrap them around the corresponding spoke holes and back through into the cassette. That way, the FREEHUB body is going to be connected basically to the spokes. So as soon as that back wheel turns, it's going to drive the chain round and I'm actually going to be able to pedal home. So I'm just going to link a few of those through the spokes, do them up. Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to use your higher end of the gears, but what it is going to do is give you some drive to get you home. Just work your way around each spoke set, go through into your cassette. This is got a real bodge, but it actually will get you home if you go gentle on that power. We're not on about engaging turbo power and mashing those climbs. It's literally a get you home. Don't forget, on a regular bike, this would render the bike a fixie. But the good thing about an e-bike is it's got a front freewheel too. So you can actually freewheel down the hill, not having to pedal. A really good hack. Well, I'd say a bodge, but a definite one to get you home. Work your way around the cassette, as you can see, as I go every single spoke, add in those things. Obviously just trim them off with a set of cutters. To get the mess away, stick them back in your riding pack. Work your way around and carry on with that ride nice and slowly. I'll probably be turning around, making my way back to the car, not carrying on any miles with this one. If, like me, you don't like riding with that big backpack on your back, you want to go out for those little hour sprints around the woods. Thing is, that's when things can happen, like snap chains, for instance. Good little hack. What I do, just run a bit of cloth tape underneath that. It's always hidden away. A nice chain link combined with a couple of zip ties. It's that get out of trouble free card when you're going to need it most. You can forget about that. Just stays nicely out the way. Keep those zip ties where you need them. Keep it zip tied down on your battery, snug. Out the way, and there when you're going to need it most. So I can't stress how good zip ties are for getting you out of trouble on the trails. So my favourite place to store them is actually in the hollow part of your crank. Stick a couple in there, and when you need them most, just pull them out, perform that hack or bodge, get you out of trouble free. Just a couple in there, could save that big ride. So the thing is, on an e-bike, when you crash, these things are heavy bikes, so those controls can take a beating, especially if you've got them done up nice and tight. The thing is, I've crashed here, my brake lever clamp has actually snapped, leaving me with this brake lever swinging around by the front wheel. I want to carry on my ride. I'm also going to need some brake, at least a little bit, and just with nothing there, it's making me lose a lot of confidence on the trail. So how the hell am I going to fix that? I know, I've got some special zip ties stashed away in my little hole. All I'm going to do, stick a couple of those through that lever clamp, get them in there nice and snug, get it on my handlebar, just get it in place first, stick one on there just to hold it in the bars, get it in there roughly to where you want it. I'm going to stick another one around that whole unit as well, just give it a bit of extra support. That way I can continue down the trail. It's not going to be the most strongest, but it's definitely going to give me something, at least something to hold on to, and that will actually work to get you to the bottom of the trail. Ah, what the hell? I'm stuck in my hardest gear. I've got this massive climb in front of me now, and I'm stuck in my bottom gear. My gear cable's snapped. How the hell are we going to get out of this one? So just as I thought that cable snapped, it's snapped right down at the cable clamp, just down here. So what am I gonna do? Basically, I'm gonna pull the cable out of the shifter and replace that cable as a short little run from the outer cable end here and tension it to the pinch bolt. Okay, so I've threaded that cable through. All I'm doing is pulling that through till that big fat end of the cable sits nicely into where the outer cable sits. Give that a pull and you'll feel that go nice and snug. Next step is to flip that bike upside down, obviously taking care not to damage your display or any of your control units, but you're not going to be able to do this without turning that bike upside down. So the next step, once you've got that cable under the cable clamp, is to add a bit of tension to that mech. What we're going to do is just wind that in just to give it a bit of bite, not tight, just enough so I can actually tension that mech so it's going to stay in place. So now I'm going to pedal my gears, get them up into a gear that I'm actually happy with. I said about a mid-range, so it's anywhere around there. All I'm doing is just tensioning this cable again, so that's nice and tensioned now. Do that pinch bolt up, then that should hopefully hold that derailleur nicely in place. Then with the excess, obviously you can just wrap it up. Luckily I've got a set of cable cutters in my bag, so I can snip that off, carry on with my ride with that derailleur in the middle gear. Just lets me carry on. It's not a fix, but it will let me carry on that ride. So we've got a nice little hack here for you. This is the master link or the quick link. This is a little get out of jail free card for when that chain snaps. It means you can rejoin that chain multiple times, and if you need to do it for maintenance, you just crack this open and it makes breaking that chain a lot easier. Really, you need a dedicated tool, a set of chain breaking pliers, basically slide in, click, and they undo the chain link easy. But apparently you can do them by hand by just twisting them and pulling them apart. But I find this really hard out on the trail. In my riding pack, I've got a lace, and I'm going to show you a little hack now. So all I've done is threaded that shoelace through. I'm just going to put it through the link, the other side, just to oppose it. So I threaded that through nice and tight. So all we do now, once that shoelace is through, just going to oppose it each way, nice and straight. Tension it. There you go, snap. You hear it break. Then you can obviously just break that chain nicely and work on it. So we're all familiar with that horrible noise when that derailleur goes in your back wheel, it explodes. It's no good for anything. Your chain's jamming, you can't pedal, and it's literally hanging off the bike. How the hell are you gonna get home? We've got a nice little hack here for you. So first up, you're gonna need to flip that bike upside down, obviously taking care of your shifters and controls. Just be careful you're not scratching those up too much. Okay, so we flip the bike upside down. Next step is just to undo those cable bolts, hot cable clamp, get that rear mech undone and out of the way. That's nicely out of the way. Next thing we've got to do is find the master link on the chain if you've got one. We'll get your chain tool out and split that chain. Okay, so I found that master link on the chain, or the quick link. Luckily with me today, I've brought the proper tool for the job in my riding pack. This is chain link pliers. If not, you can just use your chain tool just to split that chain. But I'm just going to use this, quickly sticking it in, quick clip together. I'm going to remove that chain. So I'm going to need a chain tool as well for this. So I'm basically going to shorten this whole chain down and make it a single speed. Let's have a look how we do that now. Okay, so next step is just threading that chain back through your chain guide, wind it through. Right, so basically all I'm doing is just having a quick look at that chain ring, looking at the rear cassette, making sure it's as straight as line as possible. Don't go trying to put it in the bottom or the top gears, because that chain's going to be on an angle and it's always going to be coming off or dropping off. So just get something in the middle of the block, something that's, as I say, in line with that middle of the chain ring. So what I'm doing is just allowing a little bit of slack just to allow that chain growth on that bike as the suspension moves. So I'm going to look at which link corresponds nicely to that. Okay, now I found that corresponding link, I'm going to break it, bearing in mind I'm going to be reusing my quick link to join it. So you need to find that blunt end of the chain. Get my chain tool in there, which you all have because you're well prepared in your riding packs. Breaking that chain, pulling that out. That chain's shortened. I'm going to stick that bit back in my riding pack so I've still got it when I do come to fixing my bike properly. Stick a couple of quick links in, it'll be good to go. Okay, so I've split that chain. I'm just going to rejoin it using my old split link. A nice little tip for you here. So if you get it to the top side of your gear train, just get it nice and tight. Give it a quick pull, you'll hear that chain go nice and tight. Just means that it's seated on there nice. Now basically, we've turned our bike into a single speed, and that should hopefully see us home. Let's give it a go. Yes. So no one likes wet, cold feet in the winter, and I've got a couple of nice little hacks here for you. All I do is get a piece of foil, get that out, get the insole of my shoe out, get a nice bit of thick foil, wrap my insole in some foil, nice and smoothly tight, get that all shaped nicely to the same as the insole, stick that one back in, nice, that's nice and in there, lay that foil nice and smooth. So how on earth are you going to keep those feet dry? Easy, just get yourself a nice thin carrier bag, or a bin bag. This is like a mini bin bag. Stick your foot in with a set of socks on underneath first, keeps that warm layer on as well. Then grab another thin sock, slide that on over the top of your bag, tuck that in, nice and warm, got a bit of grip in there, shoe on, nice cozy feet. So a nice little hack for that winter or cold wet riding is night trail gloves or workshop gloves. We're not talking rubber washing up gloves here. You need something nice and thin. All this does obviously stops that water, that cold air getting on your hands. Slip them on and get your regular riding glove. Slide that on over the top. There you have it. Nice, dry, toasty hands, ready for winter. It's a nice little hack when it comes to the car park. When you arrive, if that area is all wet and muddy, you don't want to be getting cold, wet feet straight away by taking your shoes off and prancing around in the mud or trying to put your knee pads on, hopping around like a one-legged flamingo. Nice little thing to have is a bath mat, a bit of cardboard, something you can stand on, back of your car. Just gives you somewhere nice and dry to change those shoes. When you come to putting stuff like your knee pads on, stops you falling over, keeps those feet nice and dry. Slip your shoes back on, ready to ride straight away. And the other thing it doubles up at, when you put it away, basically you can wrap that around part of your bike, be it a bit of paintwork, just stops those bikes getting damaged in transit too. It's a nice little one there. So when it comes to transporting your e-bikes, they're quite big, quite heavy. If you get a couple of those in the back of your van or your car, they can be knocking around. A real good hack is to do a bit of recycling. By recycling, I mean get an old school set of grips, not a lock on type. This must be the old school slide on types that just slide onto the handlebar. Slip them in half, and what they provide is a nice cover for that fork stanchion. If you've got your mate's bike banging against there, it's not going to cause any issues. Frame scratches I can deal with, but fork stanchion scratches, that can end a friendship. So if you've enjoyed today's video, we've got more content up here. We've got our slab video, epic climb that me and Steve did. We've also got how to wash your e-bike down here as well. A real good video on how to keep on top of that in the winter. If you've enjoyed today's video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up if you liked it, and drop us some comments in the box below.